Comadres. Welcome to another episode of Comadreando podcast. I'm your host, Marcy, and we have an amazing guest today, Eury. I will let her introduce herself. Who are you?
Who am I or what am I?
Who are you?
We're going to start with who am I? My name is Eurydice Roman. Let's see, I'm a City College alum. I graduated back in 2007. And what I'm currently doing now, I'm working at a work art museum as pension and benefits and medical stuff. So that's a perk of being there. Also, I do have a show called This Is Your Spotlight, currently on BronxNet and MNN, which is on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And my show is usually on Tuesdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Shameless plug. And let's see, what else? I'm planning a fundraiser called Latinos Accepting Autism. And let's see. I do short films. I did a documentary called The Autism Cycle, which was about parent, provider, and organization. It was very informational mixed in with personal. I tried not to really get too close to a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't you talk about more controversial things? I'm like, no, because in the Latino, especially the Black and Brown communities, we don't use science behind a lot of things. It's always something personal to us. And I'm an autism mom. My son's 12 years old, and he was diagnosed when he was 18 months old. And let me tell you, the work never stops. I think, as you know, it's never a day off. Maybe 30 minutes intervals, you can get to yourself, and then when you oh my gosh. But I thank you so much for extending this podcast, Comadre.
You're welcome. So I usually tell my followers how I met my guests. So Eury and I connected. I call her Eury, guys, because in Spanish her name is Eurydice. So so I call her Eury. So I met Eury through Instagram. We connected via Rick, one of our mutual friends. He sent me actually a clip from one of her short films about autism. So after that we started following each other, and we're just like each other's biggest fans. Like, we're constantly reaching out and interacting online. I'm actually going to be attending the comedy show that's going to be going down on April 9th here in New York City. Yeah. So today's topic is basically, I like to highlight different autism moms. And the reason why is because I like to give flowers to these hardworking mothers. And, it's good to share our stories so that other people don't feel alone, and to continue to create that sense of community within the comadres and also other people that are listening. So you told us your child's diagnosis. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that. When did you notice that your son was different?
Oh boy, let's see. I will tell you, it was interesting. One day, really quickly, I know time is limited. It was so cute. He was on one of those little chairs that when you turn it on, they vibrate, so the kids but it calms them. All of a sudden, one day I didn't turn on that chair, and he was just there. So okay, he's just looking. He's not saying anything. And at that point, he was about 4 or 5 months, and he didn't babble. He didn't make eye contact a lot. He was always looking everywhere and things like that. So I was like, okay, this was the progression of it. As he got a little older, nearing 1.5 years old, he started doing anytime he looked at a circular object, he wouldn't make eye contact with it. He'd look at it from the side like this. He would be stacking cans, and then I would tell him, no, don't stack the cans. It's gonna fall on you. He's like, stacking cans. And he was stuck on 4 words. And then my mother was like, listen, there is something definitely wrong. And I was like, okay. Sometimes moms know more than, new moms. And I decided to call early intervention, and then they sent in psychologist, physical therapist, speech therapist, and social worker. And then they boiled it down to the following. They're like, okay, the psychologist was like, okay, he has two things going on. I said, okay, but what is it? He has autism, but also he has ADHD going on. I said, okay. All right, so what do you suggest I do? And what I did, speech therapy, occupational, and counseling, because it looks like he gets frustrated and annoyed and so far and so forth. And yeah, we started that journey. I think the worst thing I heard during early intervention that kind of stuck with me is that, what's this thing called? I don't know if this has happened to you, but the one word the social worker uses, like, oh, he's a user. I said, he's a user.
User? What do you mean, user?
Exactly. I said, elaborate, please, because this is sounding really condescending and really debasing, you know, what this child right here. And I don't appreciate what you're implying. She's like, no. His interactions are very short. Like, if he needs something from you, that's when he interacts with you.
But there's other ways to refer to that, not like saying that he's a user.
Exactly. I said, you could have used something else contextually, or you could have used some other vocabulary to describe his behavior. So it's just when his needs are met, he feels that's the end of the interaction. Tell me like that, but he's a user. Like,
I don't like that.
You realize we're in Harlem, right? Like, I don't need to tell your special Caucasian self where we are. Y los tigres están afuera. Just in case. I just looked at her like, okay.
No, I can't.
And, yeah, that really struck a nerve. And after that, I just started the services. We had them come to the house. We had a speech therapist and occupational therapist come to the house at least 2-3 times a week before he started Head Start. And Head Start was fun because he was in daycare, so he was the biggest one out of all the kids. So he was 10 months old. Then there was a 6-month-old, then a 3, then a 1. So it was a small daycare. Había 4 muchachos. There's barely 4 kids. And I was like, okay, he's fine. So when he started preschool, they put him in the class of 12. I was like, oh dear God. And then everybody had different variations. And then it was like every other week he would come home exhibiting a behavior from the other kids because he was mimicking what he saw. And I was just like, the screaming, come out. I said, you only scream if you're in imminent danger, not if you're in the house and I'm not giving you what you want. That's not helping me. That's not helping you.
Yeah. So he was 10 months when he started that program, the socialization program?
Yes, when he was in regular daycare, yes. I was very fortunate that I was able to stay with him until he was about 10 months old at home. And then what helped me out is that I had to go on welfare. I'm not proud of it because at that point I hadn't worked a lot of jobs.
So when did he start the early intervention?
18 months.
Okay.
So
18 months.
After he was in daycare, then I decided at 18 months for him to actually start the early intervention program. And that's when he got the diagnosis and we went from there. It was interesting because at the time his father and still isn't supportive enough to recognize. And unfortunately, in the Dominican community, there's still a lot of ignorance towards what autism is. And see, this is what kind of upsets me. Like when people don't understand the condition and the diagnosis, as much as you try to help them out, try to lead them into it, always boils down, ay, pues tú sabes que son inteligentes. Ay, tú sabes que ellos saben hacer muchas cosas. I'm just trying to do like this, like, okay. Yes, I never said my child was stupid. It's just the way he
Mm-hmm.
learns and process is completely different. And it was just, yeah, it was interesting. And it was heartbreaking because I believe a lot of the disconnect came from family and from people that I was lifelong friends with when the diagnosis came up, because a lot of people were, they treat me like fragile glass. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I understand that.
and there's been times that I've gotten into it with people that I don't know from Adam, and it's just like it's hard. It never gets easy, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop fighting. It doesn't, not at all. I can't stop being an advocate just because it's uncomfortable, and I don't appreciate lights in my face. So yeah, and it's been rough. I wish I could tell you it's been easy, but as you know, it's not, because there's times that you don't know what the triggers are. No matter how the years transgress, the triggers change. Like for 6 months, I might not like bright lights in my face. Or for 6 months, I don't like the sound of hand dryers, especially if it's
Mm.
loud. Or I don't like the sound of the fridge right now humming like it's gonna run away. So I feel like every 6 months, I have a leeway. Oh, and his delay in terms of his autism, well, his autism is 6 months. So
Okay, so that's not too bad.
no, thank gosh. I've met people that have had like a year or two, or for example, they're physiologically one age, but they function at another. Like one person that I met, her daughter just turned 9, but she functions at a 5-year-old, like understanding level of everything, which is tough. So I looked out that Ellis is physiologically 12, but
Mm-hmm.
he's really 11 and a half. And you know the milestones. Oh, ooh, child.
Mm-hmm.
Pediatrician's office, sometimes it feels like they put all these pressures on you of you're supposed to be this and you're supposed to be this, yet, and you just look at them like, okay, thank you. Your child's supposed to be doing this. Your child's supposed to be doing that. There's a lot of supposed to be doing. How about I'm happy he woke up today? How about that? He did his own zipper. He tied his own shoe. He put on his clothes. How about that? Give me that as a victory. That he brushed his own teeth, that I didn't have to go like, espérate. Okay, now your teeth are clean.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's definitely like a deficit based approach a lot of the time when we talk about our kids with special needs. And it's a little disheartening, especially when it's the first time that you're hearing a diagnosis and you're hearing all these things like, oh, your child cannot do this, your child cannot do that. I get it. You have to compare them to their neurotypical peers, but you know, it's not just about the things that they cannot do. Like you have to focus also on the things that they are good at, and things that they're exceptional at too. Because the thing is, like, all right, he might not be able to tie his shoes, but he can audio and video record um his own shows and post them on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like there has to be a change in the way that we refer to our children in a way to empower them and empower parents as well. Because the problem is that a lot of the moms get very discouraged when they see or they hear somebody comparing their child who is special and who has all the connections, right? But their brain is just wired differently,
Of course.
right? Their brain is just wired differently. So it affects those moms, especially. I remember, like you kind of, at the beginning when I first got the diagnosis, it was kind of like really, I got honestly depressed, because it was like, I'm in this room, these people are telling me everything my child cannot do. And then, the fear of the future, you don't know what's going to happen or what their future is going to be like because of all these things that you're being told that they cannot do. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Um, I think honestly, when I did hear the diagnosis, I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google it. I didn't know what it was. Me myself, after so many years of dealing with ADHD, and then there's always new things that come up with ADHD. And thanks to a couple of things on YouTube now, I mean, on Instagram. One is called ADH Society, and I think they're great. And it's nice that there is something like that created for people, and it does help me because there are some things that I'm just like, really? And yeah, what like for example, when I got my diagnosis as a child, I didn't know what it was. I said, "Que yo tengo qué? I'm what? Oh, that you have attention deficit hyper disorder. Me? Hyper? Have you met me? Like, do I look like I'm hyper to you? Sassy, maybe. Think I might know a little too much? Sometimes. Not the right things that you think I should be knowing, though. But I do know because I be watching. And yeah, it's tough. And I try not to get depressed. I was for a bit, and every so often it kind of smacks you over the head like bang. And it's not so much them; it's always the constant worry of, okay, well, if I, in our case, our sons, will he be able to do this? Like, can I really leave him by himself to do this? Will he learn how to? Hey, can I send you with this list of groceries? Will you know where in the will you go shopping? Will you bring back at least the items on the list? If I take you to the laundromat, will you at least know where to put the detergent, the fabric softener, and have the patience to sit there and wait for the machine to finish? And half the time my answer is no. Not right now. As it gets older, maybe we'll grow a little bit more patience. Exactly.
One of my key phrases is when they ask me about what my son is able or not able to do. I always say not yet, right?
Oh yeah.
Because we don't want to rule it out as something that is not going to happen.
No, of
Um,
course.
so tell me, when you first got the diagnosis, did you have support from your family or friends or otherwise at the beginning? I know you were saying a little bit, kind of, some people changed or were
Yeah.
treating you differently after the diagnosis. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Uh, my son's godmother is a social worker, so she was very supportive. My mom, 100% supportive. And of course, 100%. Te lo dije, yo sabía que había algo. I'm like, okay, all right, there's something. Okay, all right, proud autism grandma. I got you. I got you, abuela. Um, so there was that. Um, a lot of my older friends, like some of them from grammar school, yeah, I've had to like tell them, listen, he's really polite, very honest. So just try to, don't treat him like like he won't understand you, but don't treat him like he's like you're scared of him either. So he will pick up on it and he will tell you like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, what's up? But yeah, I think he helped me filter out a lot of people that I just didn't need. Honestly, he helped me filter out a lot of people I didn't need. And yeah, the diagnosis was something that I just tried to deal with as time progresses. And I'm not gonna say like you don't limit, you don't put like certain expectations on him. See, oh, here's a interesting point. For me, I've gotten the question, oh, what do you want your son to be when he's older? Really, out of everything you could potentially ask me, that's what you want to ask me? De verdad, no hay ningún otro tema que te importa.
Mm-hmm.
que venga eso. No, pero nada más una pregunta, no te ofenda. It's just a question. Don't get all offended. Don't get all. But no. The thing is, you're asking me to put a barrier or a hindrance on him. I like him to surprise me. Listen, I've told him 100 times. I said, you can be whatever you like to be as long as it's within your reach and you're passionate enough that you want to do what you want to do. And definitely don't get yourself hurt and don't land up in financial problems. And on top of that, I would definitely avoid jail. Por favor, please. Like, I've worked too hard to stay, with my head above water. Pa que tú te hunda. I'm sorry. I don't want you to sink. So, eso es lo que es. I don't know. I was depressed for a little bit. I think it manifested in me not indulging in self care and really like worrying more about him than myself at times. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So
There's times
you
that
felt like you couldn't, you felt guilty in taking time for yourself. Is that?
like whenever he was in daycare and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Because I wasn't working steady. I was only working part time. I was like, oh my god, ¿qué yo hago? Oh my god, it's a Monday. Where do I go? What do I do? Like I felt myself so lost. Because sometimes, for example, I was working part time. Had I been working full time, I definitely wouldn't have had time for that question. I would just been like, okay, I'm gonna go to the deli, pick up a sandwich, and sit on the park bench, comérmelo. Okay, I got 2 hours, and then he comes back, and then bada bing, I'm good. But now, when I was working part time, it was just like, oh my god, what do I do? Do I go to a movie? Do I go to my hair? Do I go to my nails? Oh no, me falta leche. Oh no, me falta ropa. Oh no, I have to buy Pampers. Where are they on sale? So it just, not guilty. It was just like, I like to keep myself busy. So when I'm not busy, I'm just kind of like, anxiety's creeping in there. And then I'm all like, when I have too much quiet time or too much downtime, it's like, yeah, what do I do? So,
Mm, interesting. So tell me more about Ellis. Like, who is he? What makes him sparkle? Like, what kind of things is he into? What kind
um,
of kid is he?
let's see. Well, how do I put this? Like somebody told me to describe. He's a boy's boy. I said, what do you mean he's a boy's boy? No, he's a rough and tumble boy. I said, rough and tumble. No, that he's into everything that has a wheel and moves. He's into motorcycles. He's into cars. He's into airplanes. He's into especially trains. Trains is his thing. I can't even tell you how many times I've been to the Transit Museum, and I thank God that I work at a museum and I get free admission to go to the Transit Casino. And sometimes even just getting off the one train, he'll make me literally go, I want to see the train leave. We just got off the train. We have to be somewhere. And then I have to break. I was like, okay, fine. That means we'll watch the one train. Buy one train, stay away from the yellow. Buy one train, stay away from the yellow. Bye. So there's that. He's very polite. Because I'm polite. So I guess it's heredado. Very dynamic, very lovable. A lot of people go, oh, he's such a nice kid. He's really lovable. No malicioso. He's not malicious. Um, and the thing is, he's a really good mimic. That's why I'm doing a short film this summer. It's called Graduation Day. It's gonna be fun. So I'm like, I'm gonna put your echoelia, which is the repetition of constant words and phrases, to good use. Let me see if I could get a good scene out of you, and you do the acting. Vamos a ver. Like, give me something. And yeah, I think that's where he got that from. And now that I'm doing the television show, at least once a month, and I interview and I do interviews, he's gotten used to the fact that, oh, are we going to be on TV? Like you heard him, are we going to be on TV? Oh, am I going to be in your movie? Or before he wasn't like that at all. Oh no, oh no, 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 no.
He's super cute. He
No,
was like, before we started recording Comadres, he was in the background and he was like, oh, are we gonna be on M&N? and Eury told him no, but that she was gonna be interviewed. He was like, oh, okay, and then he like walked away, which is
Yeah,
cool because he understands, you know.
no, yeah.
I love that.
I involve him so much sometimes that like any guest that I interview for my show, either on MNN for MNN and BronxNet, he'll say hi to the person. And I have a documentary in the works. So right now I'm down to a rough cut version. I'm trying for 90 minutes. So far I've got 75. I interviewed 6 different families in 6 different states, all via Zoom. So Maryland, Georgia, New Jersey, California, Florida, and 2 people here in New York. And I spoke to Ayanna Davis, phenomenally autistic, and she is the lead person for New York.
She was on my show.
Yes,
She's actually, yeah,
she's amazing.
she's the headliner for this season, which I'm so excited about. Yeah, so I'm excited about the film, but we're gonna get more into that in a little bit. I wanted to ask you a little bit more serious question though. What are some of your fears and reservations as a parent of a child who will one day be a young man with autism?
I definitely should not have watched the show Love. What's this thing called? About
Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah, Love on the Spectrum. I shouldn't have watched that show because that was depressing, and that's the hardcore reality. So, to those of you who have not watched Love on the Spectrum, I suggest you do. See, I have a few fears. Being that we're Latinos, we're looked down upon, and sometimes it's hard to reconcile that in the society. And then he's a Latino with a neurological condition. So that's kind of like another rock for like if you had to do a mountain of rocks, it's like the rocks are just stacking on top of him. And my fear is that work wise it'll be hard for him to find something and also life and work balance. Because when he's passionate about something, he will go full throttle into it, which is good for the work that's required. But then to disconnect from it, because he finds such a safe space in what he does, is very difficult. So my fear is him trying to find work and life balance and also trying to deal with things once they fall apart. Like once things fall apart,
Yeah, it's a big one for a lot of my students too.
He doesn't know what to do. It's like computer down, system crash, and you just look at them like, really?
Yeah, teaching him flexibility is gonna be a big thing. But he's young enough that you can work on that, you know, with him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
And, also, he's a social wise, super friendly person. The thing is just with people with his conversations, I have to tell him like eye contact and have you asked the person their name? Have you asked them if they have an interest in wanting to talk to you instead of just
mm-hmm.
And he's like, no.
So teaching him like appropriate initiation of conversations.
Yes, social cues. Because sometimes social cues will get him in trouble.
Yeah. So, once I saw Love on the Spectrum, I kind of got interested in having like that coach to teach them social interactions, you know, like a one-on-one kind of thing. Because that seems like
Latina or you know, a person of color, and be like, okay, sis, okay, venga, vamos.
Mm-hmm.
Like do all the coursework that you have to do and specialize in this. So we're on the search for that. I'm not volunteering for that. I got it. I can't. All
right, so that's good. Thank you so much for that. So let's switch gears a little. You wanted to add something else?
Yeah, I want to add one thing. And also that I am I want him to learn a little bit, but I have to work with him towards it. When someone is like, for example, if they have select mutism, or they're hard of hearing, or they're deaf, or they're nonverbal, and he has a friend that he graduated with. His name is Sebastian, and shout out to Sebastian. Thank you for coming to the birthday party. and he doesn't speak, but oh my gosh, he would follow Ellis everywhere, and he would make and I had to tell Ellis. I said, listen, Sebastian doesn't speak. He's autistic like you, but he just doesn't speak. He goes, why not? I said, I don't know, Ellis. I can't answer that question. And he's been in copious amount of years of therapy, and I was just like, it's just there's some people on the spectrum that sometimes the words don't come out, and they could spend years and not speak. So you have to understand that no two people who are on the spectrum are alike. You have to understand that. He's like, okay, so if the person's autistic like me, but they talk, could we be a little bit alike? I said, well, it depends. Like, if you talk to them and you find out something you like or have in common, maybe. Okay, so if the person doesn't talk, that's more work for me that I have to figure out how to like um, talk to them. I said, yes. Um, a funny example, we were on a basketball court. There was this African American child. He was deaf mute, and he was telling Ellis, "Oh, he goes, I want to play. I want to play basketball." I was like, okay. And Ellis was like, I understood because my growing up, my cousin is deaf mute, so I had to learn sign language like at 9, 10 years old.
Ah,
So she
okay.
was like, what, her 20s? But she had the functionings of like a 10, 11-year-old. So she had that. I said,
So,
that's no
are you
problem.
teaching Alice sign language too,
I
or
did.
not yet?
I did. Just the basics, especially depending on who he talks to.
So let's switch gears. And you were telling me off air that you found out you had ADHD when you were 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to ask a little bit further, like how did it affect you in your parenting once you found out the diagnosis for Ellis?
Oh boy, it was just like, oh man, ooh, it felt like a mountain fell on top of me. When I was 5, it explained a lot of why it was harder for me to focus, harder for me to be more. As I became a parent, it was just like, oh boy, I'm gonna need help. I have to pay attention to what this little boy does. I can only give him so much space, and I really have to be invested in him, and I have to show my hyper attention to him. So that's why it was I became like a little consumed obsessive, because there are times that a person with ADHD can have like obsessions and hyper attention on certain things, especially if they really care about it. And when I wasn't working, I was on top of stuff. If he cried, lo cargaba. If he peed, I would change the pamper. If he did this, if he did whatever it is, and I was on top of it. And then when the diagnosis came, I was just like, oh. I felt that's what I felt guilty, because I was just like, okay, so you mean my ADHD, me as a child, could have contributed to my son coming up with autism? Like,
Oh, you
if,
can blame
if you,
yourself
there
for
were some
that.
things that were similar, and I was just like, mm.
I feel like a
Like
lot
for
of the
me, I felt like
kids.
for me, I felt guilty because I was like, oh man, like I didn't take care of myself, and then I didn't take the vitamins like I needed to. I didn't like get myself under control.
Mhm.
So when I found this, that out, as a person with ADHD, it was just like, it was a lot. It wasn't easy. Like, there were times I would just like wait for him to go to sleep, and I would just cry a little, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this child has a condition that I don't understand, and it's going to take me years to understand. And then I have my own like issues with things, and try to balance and stuff like that. And there are times that I get it. I look like a deranged lunatic sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. But some people just look at me like, listen, I'm trying to reconcile. I'm trying to deal with life as is. So you know, live and let die. Thank you so much. Out of my face. Thank you. I want that. So yeah, no, pero and the whole my whole ADHD diagnosis started a little after my sister died. My sister was 3 years old when she died. I was 7. So I had parts of it there, lenient, especially because my grandmother was the one like used to stay with me a lot. So when I went to school, it was funny because it was like, okay, I would have to speak Spanish and I have to learn how to speak English. So for the first, I think 2, 3 months, I had to take speech therapy too because there were parts of words that I was just not understanding. I was just like, ¿qué? You want me to say qué? ¿Tú quieres que yo diga qué? No. And then I used to mispronounce the teacher's name. Her name was Blue Steen. I used to call her Blue Thing. It wasn't intentional. It's just, listen, I have a Dominican abuela, and that's the way, she
Right. You
pronounces
went. Did you go to school? Did you go to school here in the Heights?
I went to school first in kindergarten on PS. Then I went to DR for like 9 months for like a semester. That was an interesting. It was an interesting interaction altogether, and it was funny, very very funny because I did kindergarten. They wanted to put me in the second grade. I was like, what? I said, wait a minute. I just learned colors, shapes, and numbers. What you mean that? Oh, leme esto. Okay. Read what? Read this sentence and tell me what's the subject, verb, and predicate. I think I lasted 6, 7 months, and then I was just like, okay, I got to get out of here. Oh, and funny thing is, there was a lot of Asian folks in the American school in DR because I went to George Washington School in DR, and it was really funny. I landed up kind of assimilating how they spoke, but I don't know if I did it correctly or if I was making a mockery of how they spoke. And I was like, yeah, no.
My cousin went to that school, but she's way younger than us. So,
Oh, yeah. This was in the 80s, Chacha, so you know how that is. The 80s things were a little like up in the air, kind of different and strange. So I went to, yeah, and then I went to Our Lady of Lords here on 143rd and Amsterdam. Then I went to Annunciation, and then I went to Mother Cabrini High School. So that's where I got my heights education in terms of that. And it was funny to go to Cabrini because Cabrini had like the worst, craziest rep. I was like, yeah, okay.
Tell me a little bit about the work you do regarding raising awareness about autism via your TV show and the documentaries you've produced so far.
Okay, so the first documentary was, it started with the following. I was watching movies on Netflix about autism, but I didn't see anybody of color. I didn't see any Latinos. I didn't see any African Americans. And they were mostly like one of them was Love Autism. It was a gentleman through the BBC. So he kind of injected like this whole like I don't know. It was just the way he did it. I didn't like it, and I was like, you know what? I could do something better. And I'm a parent, and I think I could do something with love and care and consideration for the community. And I believe that's what we needed at the time. And I started with that documentary in 2018. I released it onto the film festival circuit like around 2019, 2020. And there's that one. The fundraiser I'm doing is for the American Autism Association. So that's part of raising awareness. And the second documentary, which is called Labels of Autism, is the one that I speak to 6 different families from 6 different states. But they have their family members in their like late teens or sometimes in their 20s, and maybe a couple going into 30s. And it's really interesting to ask them questions about, aside from autism, what other underlying conditions do you have? Like some of them said anxiety, depression. Some of them said a little bit of OCD. So it's a lot. And that's what I do. And for my TV show, I actually did an episode with Synergia, which is on 125th. So with them, I wanted to interview them for the longest, and I am trying to do some resources with them, like respite or community rehabilitation, and then also even a job coach. And currently, my son is with Tri County Care, so they're a care managing system, and my mom takes care of my son as his current, you could say HHA maybe in that kind of branch, and she does respite for him, and she does community rehabilitation. But we kind of balance it out between my mother and myself in terms of that. That's how I feel like I do my little chip for my autism awareness in terms of doing all that. And it
That's
just
great.
came from being a mom and from being in it every day, no rest, 24/7, 365. And that's what was the biggest motivator. And I love it. I like what I do. I like that I always kind of breaking down misconceptions, assumptions, and I'm just like, well, okay. And I've met other parents, and I try to speak to other parents, and some parents are more reserved. Some parents have, a little more care, a little more concern, and there's certain ways, and things like that. But the common factor is that the child's autistic. So, and I'm like, listen, and it's great. I love meeting another parent on the spectrum that has a child on the spectrum. It's like, okay, what is your child do? Oh, el mío se does yours do that? No, el mío se though. Mine did that, but like 6 months ago.
I feel
It's
like
great. I love
I
it.
feel like it's
It's
like it's
great.
like you know when people used to play Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff that you had like the different abilities and stuff or like rather like wait no I'm gonna take it back. I'm not Yu-Gi-Oh. It was like remember X-Men trading cards? It's like what's your special ability
Yeah.
and they can do this and does he or she do this. Oh my god, it's like like and especially as a teacher because I get to see so many different facets of autism and
Yeah.
it's just like they're so fascinating to me and it just like warms my heart because like honestly as a special education teacher, yes, I do deal with different disabilities, but I feel like because I started working in District 75 with kids that had autism um, in a 6 to 1 classroom and I've
Oh,
worked in different settings. And because of with my son and the other kids that I know, it's like I feel like I specialize in autism, so it's like getting to know the kids and like seeing all the little nuances and little differences and how they're like vary themselves, and then like and then I love my favorite thing is like tapping into whatever it is that they're passionate about because
oh yeah.
it's like your brain explodes because like
Oh,
they might not be able to do something just yet, but then once you tap into that thing they're passionate about, it's like, what's like, what do you,
it's like,
it's
where were
like
you hiding
I'm
this the whole
always like
time?
so, my jaw is always on the floor. I'm like, amazing, I had a student that was nonverbal and, well, limited verbal, very limited. And, he was Chinese and Dutch.
Wow.
And this little boy was not talking a lot when he got to me. And through the work with the speech teachers and me prompting him, we ended up finding out that he loves music. So he was able to sing, but he
Mm.
wasn't able to speak
Oh wow.
necessarily. So by the time I left him, that I stopped teaching him when he was in first grade, he was singing all the time. To the point that he loved it so much that he would put on performances for his family because he would actually go back to the Netherlands to visit his family. So he would like put on little performances that he would write himself.
It's so sweet.
How cute is that, right? And I'm just like, it's like, once you tap into that little thing, it's like, I love like talking to other moms of children with autism because it's like, oh my God, look, and this is similar and this is different. And even like after the diagnosis, like what happens to your child, not every, like, I love what you said earlier. You meet one person with autism, you met one person with autism. There is no, like,
Hmm.
there might be some similarities, but that doesn't mean that everybody's experience is the same, or that every comorbidity, right? Not everybody has underlying conditions that are similar. So yeah, it's good to listen and to understand and to talk to people, because at the end of the day, it's just just different people. Just like you meet a woman that is Dominican, right? And you meet another woman that's Dominican, me. We have very different experiences, even though we are from the same culture. And this is something that I want to drive home to people that do not have people with autism in their life, right? Or with a disability, that everybody's experience is different. You can't lump everybody together, and not everybody who is on the spectrum is like the good doctor, or is, is not that sexy autism. I'm sorry.
The documentary, because you're going to see an image of that. And I had to put it unlisted on YouTube because I used two images from like there. And, YouTube's very stringent about certain things. Like if you use a certain song, it's going to be copyrighted and you can't monetize off of that. So I was like, I'm just going to put it unlisted, and whoever wants to see it, just let me know. I'll send you the link and stuff like that. And surprisingly,
so yeah, like it's not always the sexy autism, guys. It's not Asperger's, a person that's just socially awkward and they're just quirky or whatever. Which I'm not discounting that person's experience. Everybody's experience is different, but there's different experiences, and it's called a spectrum for a reason, right? There's people that are really verbal and high functioning, and they're like honestly are socially awkward and just have a few quirks. And there's people that are extremely autistic and they have more needs than other people. So, but just because they're like that doesn't mean that they're not intelligent, and it doesn't mean that they don't deserve the same respect as a person that is verbal. I just wanted to say that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but you're right. And that's another thing about it being a spectrum. Is difficult because they think just because you're verbal that you don't need the services. They're like, oh, nah, they'll be okay. It's like, no, you still do need to go to a shrink. You still do need certain therapies to like try to navigate this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like fly by night. Just because the person can speak and express themselves doesn't mean that they won't have a meltdown in public.
My least favorite thing, this is my pet peeve. Oh, he doesn't look autistic. What does autistic look like?
Oh my God.
It's like when somebody says to you, "Oh, you don't look Dominican." Do I have to look like a plátano? Walking around with like garrafón de agua en la cabeza, or tengo water in my head? No.
Yes.
There is no look. There is no look for autism. There is no look for autism. Sorry, guys. I'm a little triggered by that.
It's so funny. Terrible. Because you just look at them like, okay, so I'll tell you a quick story. My son, one thing is with him, you have to repeat yourself because he has a short memory for certain things. So the constant redirecting, prodding, and prompting, he forgets. So there was this one kid, everybody was throwing water down the slide. And then this kid, was trying to go down the slide. And I was just like, can I just throw water? Everybody's throwing water. Don't waffy. The kid was like, whatever neurotypical is considered. I don't know. Point is, the kid got pissed off, punched Ellis in the stomach. The mother, did a cheap version of trying to find me, per se. And then when I saw that, I said, excuse me, what the hell are you doing? He goes, oh, he was wetting me, and I told him not to wet me. He's autistic. What is wrong with you? We just got out of therapy. And then the mother was like, oh, I couldn't find you. Where were you sitting? I was sitting over there. You didn't really make an effort to try to find out who's his mother. You just wanted your son to hit my son. So what am I supposed to do? Put a t-shirt on him that says, I'm autistic, don't beat me up? Really? What kind of savage are you raising? Did you just call me a savage? I said, exactly. That's what it is, apparently. And then the kid was like, I said, first of all, you don't talk to me like that. Take the bass out your voice. I am not your mother. and I am not one of the little people here on the playground. Okay, you learn how to speak to adults. That's not how you speak to an adult, like you're screaming at them. Okay, I'm not screaming at you. I'm just raising my voice, but I'm making sure that I'm assertive and direct. Learn, if you know what that means, look it up. And then there was
Oh
like
my
two
God.
teenage kids got behind next
I would
to
have
Alice,
lost
and
it.
they were like, "I'm so sorry," and they're like, "Nah, you gotta go." They were telling the family, "You gotta go. That's messed up. He's autistic, like his mom is saying." And then like some teenage kids were like, "Are you okay?" And then one girl was hugging Ellis. He's like, "No, no," and he's crying. So yeah, that's one thing that
What park was this?
girl, I'm not even gonna tell you because it's just like, yeah, it was in the Bronx.
Mm,
It was by the two and
go
the five
figure.
train near the Bronx Zoo.
Go figure. I'm not gonna say nothing else about the Bronx. Sorry to my listeners that are from the Bronx, but nah.
There's some stuff that goes on
Oh,
there that's just like okay.
but nah, we're not
And
doing
then
that.
another
Mentally
time, these
sacanas.
kids were like ridiculing Ellis. They were saying some other kid's name, and Ellis was like, "That's not my name. Why are you calling me that? I don't know you." Oh, he looks like this kid from our school. I'm like, well, he's not. Do you mind? Do you mind stopping that? And then Ellis has the bad de la mala maña. I don't know how to say it in English. He has the bad habit. There you
Bad
go.
habit.
It came to me. That he kind of repeats a lot of stuff that seems like ridicule. Like if he hears it on YouTube, he thinks it's cool to say it, and I'm just like, and this girl, I was dying. She was like, "Oh my God, you're being a bully." You're kidding me, right? So he's autistic. What do you mean he's being a bully? No, because he keeps on saying, "Haha, you're never gonna get me. You're 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 too slow. You're too this." I said, "You know he was watching something before he got here." And then her little 15-year-old brother, who I was taller than, was on some. What's going on? Yeah, what is going on? I'm his mother. What's going on? Oh no, she's saying he's a bully. He's not a bully. He has special needs. He's just verbalizing himself. What's the problem?
You know what kills me is nowadays people want to throw that bullying word around all the time.
Oh
People
yeah.
need to look up the definition of bullying, and one time occurrence of something happening is not bullying. Bullying is a persistent targeting of a person, and it can be verbal, it could be virtual, it can be in person, but it's persistent. It's not a one-time thing. So we can't throw away the word around the word bullying just willy-nilly, because at the end of the day, that is not bullying.
Yeah,
The
yeah. I'm
person
like,
could
what
be
do you think
being
of somebody?
mean, the person could be acting like a jerk, the person could be doing whatever it is, but that's not bullying. It's very different, and it's, we need to be a little bit more clear. And I get it. A lot of, we're working with millennials. Millennials don't take a lot of stuff, but yeah, bullying is not that. So yeah, definitely not. So,
Estoy hablando un chindique.
okay. So I'm gonna get a little personal.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
I'm gonna do my
So now that you are divorced, have you started dating again or yet? Or would you like to defer?
It's not really dating. Has dating as an autism mom been easy? No. I did have a situationship. Wasn't a relationship. A situationship, and it lasted about almost 2 years. Of course, he was doing a balancing act with me and somebody else, and I was just like, okay, you can drop me, it's fine. No shit, no skin off of mine. I know where I stand. I know what I need, and this is not it, compadre. Te jodite. This is not it, sir. Sorry, you're screwed. And that was 2018. And then I've had my fun, you know. make sure you know that I'm still sexy. Dating wise, I haven't dated anybody in the last like 2 years. So it's been
By choice,
nice.
or is just kind of you've been busy with projects and things like that?
Well, between autism documentary, starting a television show, and then I even did stand up comedy, which is fun. I did 2 open mics. Let's see, come on. I'm doing this fundraiser, trying to finish up the documentary, the long version of it. And yeah, it's been busy. I've kept myself busy on purpose. So it's gotten to the point that I feel like I'm handicapped in terms of, or I've hindered myself how to socialize if it's not for something beneficial. Like if it's not for a project, I'm kind of like, oh, you think I'm cute? Really? Oh, the other day, somebody I was on Instagram Live, and all of a sudden this guy goes, "Oh my God, you have a great smile." Huh? Like I dead ass froze. I was like, I was talking about my fundraiser. I felt like I was going through puberty on Instagram Live because he was like, I was like, yo, ¿qué le digo? No sé. I'm gonna disconnect. Thank you everybody for watching. Bye.
I always do, like, when I get uncomfortable, I do the finger guns. I'm like, thanks.
Like, thank you. Uh-huh.
Right back at you, bro.
Thank you. And then I click on the photo. I'm like, ooh, yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna say something really like, this is really bad to say, but yo tengo 2 manos y puedo ir para la tienda a comprar juguete. English translation. I got 2 hands and I know where to speak for.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Worst case scenario, if anything does happen.
Okay, so wait.
Yeah.
What, are you open to dating?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's funny.
That's an honest answer.
I don't know. I don't think I am. I'm open to having a good time. Like I don't mind. I've I have I have friends that I just go out with and hang out with, knowing that nothing can happen. Like we're super platonic friends. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care what's underneath the clothes. You're a nice person. You've never disrespected me. I'm okay with you. And then there's people that are just like, like if I had to date somebody, I was just like, so what do you do? What don't I do? I don't do what you think I'm gonna do after this date is over. Like this one guy, I tried Facebook dating. ¿Para qué fue eso? Por Dios, ¿para qué fue eso? I kept on meeting people with such weird, like, oh, I have 5 kids, and of course, 2 of them are autistic, and we're divorced, but I moved back into the house to help her with the kids.
Red flag.
That's co-parenting to the umpteenth, I'm guessing. What? You have 5 kids with her? Like one? Okay. 5? You had intention to have a foundation, real estate, the house, the mortgage, el perro, el gato. You had investment there. Like, come on, bro. And all of a sudden, it doesn't working for you after how many years? You should have realized after kid number 2, not after kid number 5. Like, oh, espérate, you're different from when we began. When did you notice? After kid number 2, after kid number 3, or did you wait till number 5 exactly? Exactly.
Sounds
like
like somebody that has no accountability or doesn't check in with themselves.
And then another guy was like, "Oh, her and I lost the love, but we're here. We have 2 kids together, so we're good co-parents. But I don't look at her that way. But I'm staying in the same house as she is. Sí, como no. That means you're full of. That's what that means.
Oh my goodness.
No, it gets better.
So
it gets better.
Wait.
It gets
wait.
better than
Okay.
that. I was just like, ugh. So I don't
Terrible.
know. No sé. I said, period. That's it. I can't add any more epithets to it. Period. No sé. Si me pasa, me pasa. Y si no me pasó, amén. That's it. I just, like, I don't know.
I can
I'm just
respect
waiting
that.
for that. I'm tired of the virtual interactions in terms of like, I don't like getting hit on online. I'm sorry. I don't. Even, and in person, it's just like, okay. Do you still get catcalled?
No.
No. Really? Oh my
Yo
gosh.
siempre ando con la cara como una perra. I always got a face. I got the attitude face. I'm like, don't try me.
No, see, with me, some odd cockamamie reason because I'm tall, but I'm not smiling. I just have the, and then when I talk, they're like, oh, you have a nice voice. Like one guy was really funny. He was drunk, and I was trying to buy a sandwich from the deli, and he's like, damn, ma, oh my God, I had to like come into the store to see you in person, ma. Your ass is amazing. I'm wearing black pants. Really, bro? And they're like, Flojo, what are you talking about? That I have an amazing ass. Entonces tenía su chatica de ron. Half of it was gone. It was here. I was like, yeah, you're not all there. I appreciate the love, but you're not all there.
All right. So you said that before you fell into kind of a depression because you weren't really taking care of yourself. So I want to know now what does self care look like for you?
When I go do laundry,
Really?
that's self care.
What?
Yeah, like I do my hair ever so often, like maybe once every couple months because sometimes I'm either working overtime um, or just doing stuff. Because sometimes I even have to rush the poor hairstylist. I feel bad. I have to be like, listen, I can't sit here for 3 hours. I'm sorry. I know I have long hair, but I need you to blow dry. I gotta go pick up my son. I have to be there before at 2:20. Vamos. But it's 10:30 in the morning. Vamos. Let's go. I need to be out of here. I gotta have lunch and I gotta walk out. I haven't had a manicure since 2020. I haven't done a pedicure in a while. I haven't had a massage. Oh, I did have, what did I do? I did acupuncture. The acupuncture, I did not like the way they did it because of the adverse reaction I had. So,
All right.
yeah,
Girl,
so self care.
I need to school you
Hmm.
and get you all the way together with the self care aspect.
I know.
Because you cannot continue to pour from an empty cup or half empty or a quarter empty.
Oh, yeah. No, when you telling me that you were doing yoga, I was like, damn, I haven't done yoga in like 12 years.
I'm not saying do all the self care things at the same time. To pick one thing and do that consistently and then add to that. You know, start a routine for yourself.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
important.
and also my problem is just that it's part of my ADHD is the impulse spending. Like I
Mm.
could do the self care. It's just I'm like, concho, oh my God, gate esto, gate el otro, tengo que pagar esto, tengo que pagar el otro, and I start like the hamster wheel starts turning, and then the guilt comes after the spending, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, do I have enough for next week? And will I have this? Will I have that? So I got to get into
Yeah,
that
we need
again.
to start working on that with you. We need to work on that
Yeah,
with you.
yes, yes. I need it.
Even if it's just painting your own nails. Even you don't have to spend money. Even if it's just doing it for yourself.
This is true. Like I
It's
recently
important.
got my, I had, let's see, yo tenía cuánto meses. I hadn't done my eyebrows since December, and I did my eyebrows, and I did a little bit of my face because the thing is, usually for me, If I do my hair, I like to do my eyebrows, I like to do my face, I like to do my nails. Which Saturday I gotta look all the way like profesh. So I have to look nice for Saturday. So that's kind of a big motivator. Like, vete al salón, ponte
Mm-hmm.
bonita.
Yeah.
No vale la pena, vete. So it's weird. And after like my divorce, my separation first, I'm still working on the divorce. It's expensive and time consuming. Um, there was I think that's why I kind of fell into like I don't yo cocinaba más when I was in the house with him. Yo limpiaba más. I used to like pick up the clothes and make sure everything was neat. Hacía la cama, arreglaba esto, arreglaba el otro, and then like once he left, I just felt kind of like okay. I don't have to impress anybody anymore. I just have to make sure that I'm alive and this lovely little child with brown eyes who has my 23 genes and his 23 genes is alive, breathing, and screaming. After that, I'm okay. And then once I do that, then I felt okay. But yeah, there's when I'm with somebody or dating or liking somebody, oh girl, I make efforts. Me arreglo cabello, do my
But you gotta do it for yourself, not for nobody else.
I know, but it's just been like I'm okay as long as I shower and I brush my teeth and my hair's okay
Oh my gosh.
and I don't have wrinkles happening. I'm okay.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
I just like looking at me like, no, muchacho, that's a valor, concho.
No,
No,
yeah, like
deja de pediciar, Dios mío.
the thing is, like, we do go through it, and I understand, but like going to therapy helps a lot too, to help you get in the mindset of like loving yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
before you start dating, because once you start loving yourself first and like showing you that you love you, it's gonna be easier to attract somebody that's gonna treat you the way you deserve to be treated. What do you think about that?
I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I've been to therapy. I had to take a break from therapy because one social worker asked me very rudely, "What are you here for, really?" I'm
Listen,
asking.
you can dump your therapist. You can always dump your therapist. Like, if you don't
Oh
like the
yeah, I had
person,
to.
you can find another one.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
And with that, comadre, I want to end the episode how I usually end the episode, and it's follow me at Comadreando Pod and follow Eury on IG at Roman Epic Productions, right?
yes, the Roman Epic Productions, the Roman Epic Productions. You can see all my work and also my episodes for my TV show. And I'm also on YouTube. So the Roman Epic Productions, all one word. You see my lovely face though. And also, please support. We have to support our creators in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
There are great people doing fantastic things. Never forget that. You always just have to look and see. Okay? There could be someone
All right.
walking away from you on the street and you don't know if that person's doing something so great. And if you just take time to listen to a podcast, to watch a YouTube video, or to even watch them on public access television, you'll be supporting them that way. Hell, even reposting whatever they post, even doing something
Mm-hmm.
as simple as that. It doesn't cost a thing to do that. And you'll never know what kind of people you will engage with or come across.
I agree with that. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to send me a Comadre-Gram via email at comadreando@escthenetwork.com or slide up into my DMs. Thank you for spending time with your comadres. And I want to say bye. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, dear. Cuídate.